Hello, my children.
Warning, Supernatural The Crossroads contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad.
I went to the crossroads. Fell down on my
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Supernatural The Crossroads. I am your host, Thomas Cowley, and joined with me today is Ryan Denton.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
And Michael Flores.
Mike got that.
And today we are talking about the Season 13 mid-season finale, The Bad Place.
Ooh.
Or, as we call it here in the studio, Ryan's Fan Fiction Corner.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that is The Bad Place, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool place.
It's a cool place?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's good, clean family fun.
It's not clean. There's nothing about any of that statement that's true. It's not clean, nor is it for the family.
That's probably true.
Anyway, this episode was directed by Phil Scriccia and written by one of our favorite writers on the team, Robert Behrens.
Ooh.
And we had an immense amount of new lore added to this episode. We had angels doing new and cool shit. We had a glimpse at the multiverse for Supernatural, which is bigger than, I think, a shitload of stuff we've seen. And this season has had several episodes that have expanded the world of Supernatural in dramatic ways, whether that is seeing the empty or where death, I guess, like her office, I suppose. And now a glimpse at the multiverse after we had already got a starting point for the backdoor pilot for Wayward Sisters.
Yep.
We've got a cliffhanger ending, and we've got a kick-ass way to start the mid-season premiere when we come back.
This one definitely gets you excited and amped pretty much for when we come back. I mean, so many questions, and typically, when you have a lot of questions, it might be a little, but this one was just enough to be like, oh my god.
Well, the thing about this, I feel like it is a complete shift from where we left off with Dab as showrunner in season 12.
Yeah,
the mid-season finale of season 12, episode 8, Lotus. We had so many questions, and not for the right reasons.
Right.
Unfortunately, it was kind of a self-contained episode that felt out of place to me at the time. We didn't really know where we were going. We had so many different avenues without a clear direction. And I think this is a great example of how to do a season finale correctly when you have a central focus. You can have a number of different people in play. You can have a number of different goals or threats, as long as you have that center point for everything to revolve around or move towards. And having a focused narrative this season has helped this immensely. This is one of the stronger mid-season finales we've had in a couple of years.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think season 11 had a great mid-season finale with the return of Lucifer.
Yep.
But it's stronger than 12. I'd say it's stronger than 10.
For sure.
So 9 and 11,
well,
the death of Kevin, maybe?
I think the thing with this is like I said, it gets you amped. And I think we haven't had that in a while. And I think you're right, Thomas. This is probably one of the better mid-season finales that we've had in probably 2 or 3 years, man.
And it does so much within just 42 minutes, essentially.
Yeah.
With the introduction of Kaya, the new character who's going to become part of the Wayward Sisters crew.
Yay.
The return of Jack, who we
I'm just going to say right now, Thomas, as I rudely interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
I am #Team Kaya. I'm just going to start it right now.
Is it
We're gonna
because she's
pick teams?
Mexican, or is it because
Why you got to make it racial?
He's got to
Because I
join
have
that
to.
side? Is that it?
I have to?
You know, not everything. This is why we have the problems we have right now in this country and the protests we have.
Because of our show and my racial comments towards you.
I think she's capable.
She is cool.
The actress
I agree.
is damn good. And the character is actually very interesting.
The character has a lot of different ways to go, and it's nice to see a character who has some real struggles. She's not somebody who had everything taken away from her, which we've seen too often, and she's not somebody who had everything set up or a good setup in life like Patience. She's somebody who's got a lot of different baggage, which can be really interesting to watch because she has so many different avenues to go on.
Well, I think we're used to baggage. I mean, we're used to, you know, Sam and Dean and all these things that they've gone through. And I think she adds to that. And like Mike said, she's a realistic character. Like, she doesn't seem out of place. You know, she seems like she fits in this world. And you're right, Thomas. I think having that kind of baggage makes the character and the character development fun to watch because, you know, there are certain things that we don't know about her yet that I'm sure we're going to find out. But so far, man, I'm with you, Mike.
Yeah.
I think she's super cool, man.
And more importantly, she's not blonde haired and blue eyed.
Because you know we hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give a Mexican a chance.
No, I think it's more fun to see somebody who's in a bad place.
Yeah, you like to see Mexicans squirm.
Wow.
He likes to
Didn't
see
even
Mexicans
finish my
squirm.
sentence.
I
Didn't even finish.
I want to see you squirm.
Yeah. Where are your pesos at now?
I'm an 1800s plantation owner now? Is that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I was saying
I
it's
like
more
to see you squirm, boy.
It's more
I like the way
interesting
you die, boy.
to see somebody who has a lot of struggles overcome them rather than see somebody like, and I'll just full on say it, rather than see Patience who's, while she has some interesting elements to her character,
She's blue collared.
She's got everything kind of handed to her already in a lot of ways, and it's just
Very middle class.
Seeing her struggles could be interesting. We don't know enough yet, but Kaya's are already far more captivating because anybody who's had a bad period in time, anybody who's lost a parent, anybody who's had drug issues in their life, there's a lot more that's relatable there because life is not always hunky-dory and I got all A's and I'm also part of volleyball.
Yeah, life is
a lot of us were like, fuck you then, okay?
Yeah. You suck, I hate you.
And also, we're talking about ourselves here. Meaning,
Yes, no, I'm saying this room.
We love broken individuals in terms of characters. We love broken characters, and Kaya does not have it figured out. And I think that's why
it's more relatable.
I think that's why we all gravitated to her because that's why we like Sam and Dean. They're broken.
Oh, yeah.
And they're interesting to watch and see them dealing with their problems day in, day out, or every week.
Well, it's realistic.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
it makes for good drama and good tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Seeing somebody overcome a struggle when you yourself would be like, you know, I don't know what I would pick in that scenario. But when you have like the hero good character, it's a little bit more static, or you know kind of what route they're going to go down.
What they're going to pick.
It's the why Superman is less interesting than Batman to a lot of people.
Same concept.
Yeah.
Which is true.
But we did get a little bit of a glimpse as to the backdoor pilot spinoff with Wayward Sisters.
We did.
Variety spoke with Andrew Dabb and has a little bit of an insight from beyond what we saw in the episode. Ryan, can you give us a little bit of that?
Yeah, so I'm just going to kind of jump through this article.
Peruse the article?
Yeah, because it's long as shit and I'm not a very good reader. So it starts off, Supernatural is no stranger to setting up potential spinoffs through backdoor pilots. But unlike Bloodlines, which we don't like mentioning, but anyway, season 13's new attempt features characters that have been part of the Supernatural family, and at very least for an episode, but in some cases for years. So this is interesting because it's true. Like we've got more introduction to these characters than we did anything in Bloodlines. And I think that's what sets it apart. And it says right here, Bloodlines by design was to drop you into a world that was part of Supernatural, but supposed to feel very different, Andrew Dabb says.
Now, do you think different as in shitty writing? Like,
no,
I think is that what he means? Or
I think what he meant.
It's different. Okay.
Yeah, it's different because the writing's terrible. But
with Supernatural, we write with a template, the classic screenwriting 101, and the Bloodlines we just wrote on index cards.
We had an idea in the conference room. We're like, you know what if we said fuck it and just did whatever we want?
Let's just take this ball and throw it against the wall, and wherever it sticks is what we're gonna do. Yay!
All right, Freddy Krueger. Whose idea was that?
Yeah.
Jeff, you're fired.
So it says, when we started talking about Wayward, it was something that had been built up for years and seeded in our show for a long time. And when we made the decision last year to trudge forward on this, it was really trudge. That's a terrible
great word.
Yeah.
Dude.
Jesus, that makes it sound great.
Slogged through this abysmal experience.
It was really important to us that unlike Bloodlines,
a bleak moment in my life.
It feels like
once
an
I
organic
stopped drinking.
It felt organic of Supernatural. Wayward Sisters, which will air when Supernatural turns with its winter premiere in January, was set up in the set up in the episode that we just saw. We don't need to talk about that.
But as you said, Ryan, it's this decision to go with these characters has already had a lot more groundwork, foundation laid. And I think that's the biggest thing is
the characters are already interesting.
Bloodlines, it's supposed to be a different world or a different part of the same world, but it didn't feel like the same world at all. Beyond shitty writing, like there was just a complete different focus on that.
Yeah. He said, we think this episode steps up and the relationships and a big mythology that can support a show. But if the stars don't align for us, they can just enjoy it as an episode of Supernatural, Dab says. That's important to us. I think a lot of the reason Bloodlines turned so many people off was that it didn't feel like an episode of Supernatural. This feels like an episode of Supernatural, and should it go forward, we would build on the DNA to make it feel unique and different, but still part of the world. And that's kind of what we wanted.
It's a lot of what everyone wanted.
Yeah.
And I kind of disagree with what Dab or how he's justifying. And I understand he needs to toe the company line. He needs to back up and he also wants to back up his work because he's the guy that wrote Bloodline. So I get it.
You can't just say,
he says,
you know what? I fucked up that one.
Right.
You can't say that.
I understand that he kind of beats around the bush, but I disagree with the very concept of how he's justifying the differences between Wayward Sisters
it's a little,
and Bloodlines. Because Wayward Sisters it doesn't necessarily need to be like Supernatural. For example, we're already getting notes of the fantasy already seeping into what could potentially be the Wayward Sisters genre. And this is something we discussed on a Patreon episode, our Wayward Sisters edition, where we discussed the genre of Wayward Sisters. And the Wayward Sisters genre is already veering very close to the fantasy aspect rather than horror. I'm not saying it's not going to touch on horror. I think that's a part of the monster fighting aspect of Supernatural, and it will always be. But you also are going to probably see them gravitate to other genres. Bloodlines was something entirely different. Wayward Sisters can be something different and still feel like it belongs. Bloodlines just didn't feel like it belonged, period. Well, it felt like a Vampire Diaries Part 2.
It was more like that than Supernatural.
So Dab goes on to say Wayward Sisters has to pick up in the Supernatural story where the bad place left off, which means finding out a way to get Dean and Sam back from the other world. A world which Dab notes is unlike anything we've ever seen on Supernatural, but it also has to flesh out the ensemble dynamics of the women who will not only work together to save Dean and Sam, but will also who will make up the cast of the spinoff should it go forward in the series. So they're giving them a task, and I think we had discussed that too, where it's give them a task that's bedded in Supernatural, where they have to help Sam and Dean, and then they can go off on and do their own thing.
They have to be a part of the main story. They cannot just be. Here in Chicago, this is how we do things, and we have weird bars with totally different powers for established monsters. What am I writing again?
Wayward Sisters is a true definition of a spin-off. You're spinning it off.
Yeah.
You're spinning it off. You're literally taking a narrative from Supernatural, the main show, and going this way with it as their platform for their show.
Well, he even goes on to say, so there's a number of point of views there are a number of beautiful character beats for every character. You have a couple of core relationships that are very warm and established, like Alex and Jody and Donna. They're very ride or die, Barron says, noting the past episode of Supernatural have already introduced the point of views of each, but the focal point of view of the Wayward Sisters episode will be Claire's story. And for me, that makes me want to shoot myself in the head. But I'm okay if they focus on Claire's story and include the other characters that are incredibly interesting that we found interesting already, I may be okay with it. And I think that's the line.
I would feel like it's a huge missed opportunity if the entire focus of the show is on Claire and these other girls are simply
kind of left there for no reason.
Supporting because there is,
especially after where we left off on this episode.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Kaya is epic.
Yeah, she's cool.
How the fuck would you want her to be supporting anybody?
Yeah.
She's like a borderline chosen one. Meanwhile, Patience saw some visions of something we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And then there's Claire.
Think about it this way. Okay, so we've had these characters, Patience and Kaya, they've shown up. And now we're going to switch, and the point of view is going to be Claire. She hasn't even been in any episode in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I'm sure they have a plan in place.
I hope so.
And I'm
because fuck, man, Claire makes me want to kill myself.
I don't have a problem with Claire. I like her. I just feel like she's not very interesting right now. However, if they are planning and looking at everything they're doing so far, working up to that spinoff, that backdoor pilot, and the potential spinoff down the road, if this all works out, I feel like they have a solid plan and how they want to utilize each character.
I feel like they have to put this much faith into it, and to have the backdoor pilot's actual first launch be the episode in which Claire's a central character, and it's your mid-season premiere, you need to have your shit together for that.
Yeah, agreed.
If this was last year, I'd be a little worried.
I'd be worried.
The way everything's going and how everything just clicks and is working perfectly together, I feel like we're okay. I think it's okay.
I agree. And I think with how good this season has been, I'm confident that it's going to be good. They have
Claire Bear.
Yeah. I just do not like Claire, man.
They discuss it a little bit. Barron says that Claire, the prodigal daughter, is conflicted about the family unit at this time in her life and the show's history. She's returning to the fold after an absence. She feels like she's a solo hunter, like maybe she's outgrown this family, but under the circumstances, she has to come back. So there's a lot of emotion and interpersonal relationships to work through with the rest of the group.
Oh boy, she has about as much personality as a wet napkin.
And we talked about her abilities as a solo hunter, that they kind of made her, they wanted to paint her as a solo hunter, but they still had her make rookie mistakes. And I think in some ways that's going to play into her character moving forward, because she wants to go off and be her own, the master of her own universe. But I think she still is lacking a lot of stuff. Sam and Dean do kind of do their own thing, but one, they've been doing it for 10 plus years. And two, they still rely heavily on their hunter friends and family when they need to. Bobby was there since season 1. You know, Jody's been there since season 5. Rufus, even Crowley, and Castiel, they're not hunters, but they've relied on their support group. And I think one of the main elements about this show's theme of family is that you can't just do it alone. So Claire, I think that is a good setup to give her a character interaction with the different people showing up at the house. This X-Men style buildup. I think it'll work. I think it's a good way to set that up for her to be a little bit more interesting and a little bit more human to us.
Yeah.
So we've got all that to look forward to.
Yay. I think she should dye her hair so she's not so blonde.
Why are you so like on the blonde thing right now?
Hey, Supernatural writers said it. I'm just backing them up.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She goes dirty blonde.
Yeah, I'm down with brown.
What about strawberry? What about strawberry blonde?
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
because that can also signal Irish immigrants.
Yeah,
they're not
the downtrodden of the whites.
Yeah.
Exactly,
the lower level of the whites.
Exactly, that's exactly what we are.
I'm fucked. I'm half Irish, half Mexican.
Nobody cares about you.
Nobody. Yeah,
you're like Kaya, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Tequila mixed with some scotch.
Yeah, there you go. Fucking Jameson and Dos Equis.
Don't judge me. Don't be racist, Thomas.
You're the one who drinks wine. Let's get real.
That's true.
Your white side is taking over.
I'm the most uppity person probably in this room.
Yeah, you are the most uppity person.
But it's because I'm trying to compensate.
You're right.
You don't actually like wine.
No one ever gave me anything, so I'm just trying to compensate.
You're about as Irish as Lucky Charms. Like,
you know what? Me being the only Mexican in this room, you two white men have never given me anything.
What am I supposed to give you, a wall?
You make more than us.
I don't know what you want.
Jesus. That was amazing.
That was well done.
Thank you.
Points to Ryan.
Can you put some glory holes in them? I mean, I might want that wall.
I might be able to work that out.
All right. With this episode, guys, we're also going to have the announcement of our grand prize winner from USAopoly's giveaway. We've taken everybody's name who has been involved, everybody who has been put into the drawing, and we're going to draw the grand prize winner at the end of the show.
You're going to draw it.
I'm going to draw.
I have
so if anybody's mad, they can yell at me.
Well, yeah, that's typically who we yell at.
That's usually the case anyway. We will be doing that at the end of the show. So we want to thank USAopoly for helping us out with that. And also, guys, with the holiday season, if you still need to get some gifts for your Supernatural fans and friends, don't forget to get the Supernatural Save Your Souls card game, where you join the hunt with your favorite characters from the TV series Supernatural with the Save Your Souls card game. Each round, you team up with an iconic hunter, angel, or the King of Hell himself. But beware, if you don't choose wisely, you may lose your soul. And if you guys haven't checked it out, we have done an unboxing of this where Ryan and I went through the cards and discussed the game a little bit. It looks really cool. There has different levels for each character.
Yeah, I need more time in my life to play that.
Dude, right?
Dude, it looks so cool, right?
You guys sold me on, because I haven't taken a look at it yet. And then when you guys were preparing and doing the actual unboxing, and then I had to edit and put it together, I was like, damn, this game is really fucking exciting.
It's nice, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
The little soul pieces are pieces of blue fire, so I'm a fan automatically.
Are we sure? Did we confirm?
They look like blue fire, dude. They really do.
Saying.
They really do.
I'm going for it.
That's awesome.
So we will again be doing that at the end of this episode. And also, guys, don't forget to check out the Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/RainmanDigital, where you guys can get additional Crossroads content, including 10 minutes at the Crossroads, where the last bit we talked about Dean and who he is as a character. Can you keep a character consistent 13 years and running, or does he become a little bit of a caricature himself? At the same time, guys, you've also done additional episodes of the show, including our videocast retrospectives.
Yes.
The last one we did was Asylum, season 1, episode 10. I believe that's episode 10.
And that'll be out this week. It was supposed to come out last week, and we just got really busy.
We've been slammed.
Yeah, really, right?
Yeah.
I think we're the busiest we've ever been.
Yeah,
dude, it's been brutal.
We're the busiest we've ever been in a time where we're never busy.
Yeah.
We're typically not busy right now.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is very weird. But yeah, that one will come out, this week? Mike?
Yeah. And I just want to say my bandwidth rates doubled. So that means our listenership between October and December, like I got the bill and I freaked out.
You were like, what the hell?
But then how can you get upset? Because the reason why my bill goes up is because we doubled our listener base across the board.
Thank you, guys.
That's good.
Wow.
That's awesome. But
it's a good bill
the
to
bill
have.
isn't.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem. And I was talking to Maggie about it. I was like, you know what? This sucks, this bill. But like, how can I complain? Please keep listening.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll do it on air. That way I can still complain.
Yeah, there we go. But we won't download shows anymore, Mike.
All right, so guys, we want to thank everybody who is a member of Patreon. And if you're interested in any of that additional content, head on over to patreon.com/RainmanDigital. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into our discussion of Season 13, Episode 9, The Bad Place.
For a long time, let me tell you, the God's gonna cut you down. Let me tell you, the God's gonna cut you down. My God spoke and he spoke so sweet. I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet, and he put hand upon my head. Great God Almighty, I'll tell you what he said. Go tell
The Rain Man Show. The Rain Man Show.
I can't believe he did this. I can't believe he's so smart. He's always been the brightest. I mean, growing up, little Tommy, he was the one we thought was going to make the family proud.
We thought he was going to be a chemist.
We thought he was always mixing stuff. But the police told us after death that was just a meth lab. We thought he was doing his homework. Little we know he was running shine. Oh, Tommy, why would you put your family through this mess, you son of a bitch? I wonder how that conversation went down. Like, how did he decide to drink gasoline with his buddy? Well, Bill, I heard. You ever seen a movie with Vin Diesel called Too Fast, Too Furious, number 8? Wait, no, number 7. Number 7. Well, you can get real fast if you drink goddamn Mountain Dew with gasoline. Yeah, let's drink this shit. We get really fast. Like lightning. Grease lightning. John Travolta. What's that bitch's name? Sandy D. Wait, what's that bitch's name with the blonde hair? John Travolta's girlfriend.
Sandy
D. I heard you could be grease lightning fast and you can bone Sandy D. Give me that Mountain Dew and gasoline, Tommy.
For Rain Man, visit RainmanShow.com.
Star Wars from the Butter Tank exclusive.
That thing's operational.
And if you can't get on board that idea, then you probably shouldn't be making movies, or you just go make a low-budget indie film where you don't have to answer to anybody.
Answer to anybody, yeah. Do your own project.
Yeah. So I have so much confidence for the upcoming Han Solo movie. I hope it doesn't suck now, because I'm putting all the chips on the table here, Dave.
In the back of my brain, I'm like, please don't be bad.
We're really blowing this. Watch it be the worst movie ever.
and then we have to come in the next thing and go, liar! You were wrong.
I hate you, Ron Howard. You're the worst decision.
Why'd you fail me?
If we did that would be so on par with Star Wars fans. That would be me. That would be us.
That'd be our destiny right there.
From thebatthetank.com for more details. And get ready for an excitingly good time. Also, if you've missed our last show, you can also find us on your Stitcher app. Search Back to Tank. Add us to your favorites. Thank you, and we will see you very soon.
The Crossroads videocast is here. Retrospective reviews, discussions, theories, and geek outs. All available when you pledge $10 or more a month to our Patreon account. Same show, just more of it. Head over to patreon.com/RainmanDigital to pledge. Previously on Supernatural: The Crossroads.
Don't judge me.
I'm asking
you should
about
know by now.
Casting and what could that mean for the story? You're like, yeah, but how does she look now? This is an older photo.
That look like, oh my goodness.
Look up her dating profile.
Her dating profile?
I could beat up
She's
Jensen.
on Match.com.
I could beat up Jensen.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, okay, so you're going to beat up Jensen, and suddenly Danielle is going to be like,
she's like,
I've been waiting for someone to beat my husband
unconscious. That's how it works. Come on, guys.
What, he's caveman?
Yeah. I hit him over the head with a club, and then I hit her over the head with a club.
I swear to God, Ryan was born in the wrong century. Like, he should
the wrong millennium.
Yeah, he should.
If he was a caveman, he'd be the talk of the fucking town. Of course, it'd be grunts. Exactly. Because it wouldn't be 1700s where you had to be sophisticated and wear clothes.
Thomas, shut up, Thomas.
But if he had to just wear a loincloth from a dead animal he bludgeoned to death that morning, and then drag someone, willing or not, to the cave, Ryan, he'd be a pretty popular guy.
Hell yeah. Don't hate, Thomas. Don't hate that you would be the guy picking berries. I'd be the one out scavenging and killing.
I'd be the guy picking berries.
I'd be the one inventing fire compared to your ass.
Oh, yeah, okay, Prometheus.
As long as you didn't have to spell it in order to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it's 2 syllables.
No. Anyways,
I think honestly, if you combine all of our brain power in one room, we might equal the smarts of one human being.
Yes, one human being.
One well-rounded individual.
Human being.
I think that's why if the three of us combine our powers,
combined, we can be average. Welcome back, everyone. Supernatural: The Crossroads, Season 13, Episode 9, The Bad Place. Time to get into the discussion. The last one for the year. A little sad. We're going to be back in a month. They're coming back fast this year.
I know.
It's weird.
It is weird.
We never stop. We don't sleep here.
Yeah. I sleep. I sleep sometimes.
Like Kaya, we don't sleep.
Oh, poor Kaya.
Otherwise, you go to The Bad Place. Ryan, can you give us a synopsis, please?
Oh, I'll give you a synopsis to The Bad Place.
Not like that.
Oh.
Not that place.
What if you like The Bad Place?
What if you're like into that?
Yeah.
What if you're like Freddy Krueger?
Again, it's not Ryan's Bad Place.
I'm like, can you tie me up at The Bad Place?
Yeah. Well, my Bad Place is a little kinky.
Is there safe words?
Yeah. Can you tie me up and spit on me in The Bad Place?
Yeah.
Because that's
open your mouth.
Yeah. Is it bad like good? Like good
bad?
Yeah,
it's good bad.
Are you tied up?
It's
the rope.
Day. Yeah. No, it's not rope. It's
chains. Whoa.
Yeah, I get fucking crazy. Anyways,
back onto the show.
The death.
I'll use barbed wire. What are you talking about? Rope?
Yeah.
God.
What's up?
Yeah. Wrap that around me.
Yeah.
Pull tight.
Ugh.
My penis.
Oh,
what?
Ugh. Ow.
Make me wear a crown of thorns.
On your wee-wee?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That just got weird. Anyway.
I would just like to point out that I'm not the one that made the first dick joke tonight. So
hey, it's my Bad Place.
Oh, Jesus. The death of a Dreamwalker leads Sam and Dean to Jack, who is trying to get another Dreamwalker named Kaya Nieves to help him open a door to Apocalypse World. There you go. Merry Christmas.
I just like that we officially got a name for the other world, because we were kind of talking back and forth the last couple of weeks.
What are we going to call it?
What is it? Is it called Earth 1? Is it called
Earth, Bizarro?
Yeah, and that's kind of, didn't Sam specifically state it as Apocalypse World?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that, and now it's in the official synopsis, so I'm guessing that is the official canon name, Apocalypse World.
Apocalypse Now.
At least it's not Water World. That'd be odd. Yeah, Kevin Costner.
You pee in a machine and drink your own pee?
Yeah. Smoke lots of cigarettes. Chase after people with
on jet skis.
Pirate eyes. Make no sense.
Grow gills.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Dude.
Trade little children for paper. I mean, this is a dark world.
Dude, I
think in a way the world
movie was ahead of its time.
I give you paper for a few minutes with a wee one. Do you remember?
Yes.
That movie was dark.
Replace paper with money and the world still like that.
Absolutely.
Now it's really the bad place.
All right.
That was bad.
Yeah.
All right. In this episode, we had the mid-season finale, and it felt well thought out. It felt like this was a clear and distinct point in which the story needs to take a break or have a big cliffhanger. And it's a really nice comparison to where we were this time last year with Lotus. The idea of we don't really know where the story's going. It's
we didn't have that here.
Making it up as we go. What plagued season 12 is no longer present. And I do want to say kudos to Dab and the team on that one, because it feels so much more cohesive. And again, even with having a bunch of different things going on, you have that central narrative, that central driving point, and the rest of it works.
As much as it pains me, but I think we have to retire the Dab song.
Yeah.
I think
it's on
I think
it's on
retired.
stasis. You can always take it out when you need to.
That's what she said.
Oh, jeez. It's on stasis?
Yes, that.
Can we when do we retire it? When should we retire the Dab song?
I feel like we'd retire the Dab song at the mid-season premiere. If it's badass, I feel like we got to retire it.
Okay.
I don't know if we retire it ever. I think it just isn't used unless it ends up being needed.
I think we need to
It's like the bat signal. He'll show up when we need it.
That's the Dab signal.
Or we can do like, the Michael Jordan jersey, just hanging up in the rafters for a little bit.
Yeah, and retire it and then he's going to come back
but
and
not
we'll pull
the
it down.
Bulls. We are not, because it's a bad thing. So we don't want to be Michael Jordan's Bull jersey.
It was his Wizards jersey.
It's the Wizards jersey.
Yeah. When he came back and was too old.
Better yet, it'll be his White Sox jersey when he tried to play baseball.
That's terrible.
They have done a great job by comparison, and it does feel like the story is focused. Season 13 is focused, and we do have a bunch of different things, but again, having that central driving point worked out.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the takeaway, Thomas, because there are people, of course, I read the net constantly, and there's people that complain about what they're doing, but there's a difference between what you want and bad writing. Just because you don't, and I always say this, just because you don't care for what they're doing, decision-wise,
doesn't make it bad
writing. It's just, hey, we're all fans, we're all emotionally invested, and we all have ideas of things that may work. It happens with all major movie franchises where you're like, well, I would have done this differently. And it's just a part of the process of an ever-growing franchise, and Supernatural is definitely that. And you have to look at this objectively and say, these are good decisions. It may not be my decisions if I was writing this,
but they're not
season,
bad.
But they're not bad decisions. I can definitely get behind a lot of the decisions being made.
Yeah, one of which is the introduction of Kaya Nieves with Wayward Sisters starting when we return.
Yeah.
It's a great setup for a pilot with a very interesting character. I mean, this is the first, and I guess only at this time, character that has been introduced right before we get into the spinoff. Claire has been there for years. Jody's been there for years. Donna has been there for years. Even Alex. Patience has had 2 episodes at this point. She'll have 3 when we return.
And we really didn't have a problem with her introduction. I thought
I liked her.
I liked her too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing about Kaya and Patience and these new characters that we're getting, is that we actually genuinely kind of give a shit about them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what.
And their name isn't Enos.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't rhyme with penis.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't expect Ryan to take that seriously.
Look, you give me a character named Enos and I'm going to run with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to run with the penis
jokes.
I had to throw jokes in there because that would have sounded weird.
Yeah.
But they've done a much stronger job characterizing Kaya, even than Patience, I feel. We said this a little bit earlier on. She's very interesting. She has a troubled background. As Sam tells us in this episode, she has hardship and heartache and these constant fear and or terror of her own abilities. And unlike Patience and your traditional hero storyline where she's thrown into it by circumstance, she has a little bit of that, but it's not you're the chosen one and you just never knew it and life's going to be so great kind of thing. Kaya is a troubled and relatable individual, which I think is a great, transition into, hey, these are, as you said, Ryan, these are characters we give a shit about.
Yep.
Now she does still have the hero's storyline to it, as do any character who you're doing any hero, any good protagonist traditionally follows some semblance of the hero's journey unless you're going really off script. But I think she's a good setup. We see a little bit of that here where she has power she doesn't know about, but they've always troubled her. They've always plagued her. It's not something that, oh yeah, life just was easier because of these things. Or I never knew I had such untapped potential that I was just sitting on. For her, it caused her pain. It caused heartache in her life.
And I think it needed to in order for us to connect and for it to work. And even if there might be some people out there who are not necessarily emotionally invested yet, but it's not just that. It's about having a character that feels like she belongs in the world of Supernatural. Again, looking at the show and the span that it's ran, 13 seasons, arguably Supernatural has now created its own versions of archetypes and things that belong in Supernatural and things that we expect. And this hero's journey is something that we expect our protagonists to have. The unwilling hero. The person who doesn't look at themselves.
They don't want to be in
hero.
this world. They don't want to be in the world, but somehow they have to
the refusal of the call.
And yes, exactly.
The refusal of the call is a pillar of the hero's journey. Yep. You look at any, Star Wars, any of that stuff. You have the part where the hero doesn't want to be a part of this. They don't want a part of that life. They don't want the weight of the world on their shoulders, because frankly, who the fuck would?
I wouldn't want that, yeah.
They don't want that. They want to go back to their normal life. They don't want...
I want the accolades, though, that come with it.
Right, yeah. You want the money.
Can I just have all the money and the women and none of the actual responsibility?
I just want pat on the backs. That's it.
That's called being a rock star.
He just wants acknowledgement.
Yeah.
That I did a great job.
And also some good sturdy gloves and climbing boots so I can climb over that wall that Ryan wants to give me.
You're going to need rope, too.
Oh.
To hang myself?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you can't get over it.
Ryan's never stops building. He just keeps going straight up.
It's the new Babylon.
But God. Both Kaya and Patience do have that refusal of the call here. She tries to hide her visions. Kaya doesn't want to even sleep.
Doesn't want to face it.
Yeah, she's taking narcotics to stay awake. What kind of hell is that when you really think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
To stay awake all that time, or every time you sleep, you go to this nightmare world.
So
that'd make anybody unstable. Yeah, but it doesn't go away.
And just the dreams, that she's being plagued by these dreams and unwillingly or unknowingly crossing over into other worlds. I mean, it feels, there's notes of Sam Winchester there.
Yes.
And I think that's the most important thing when you're building new characters and you expect, just forget the spinoff for a second. Just look at her and her belonging in the world of Supernatural. It fits what we've come to expect of our characters. And now looking at the spinoff, this is how you make things feel cohesive, by borrowing similar concepts, writing theories, themes, motifs, and utilizing it. And that's why I feel like this introduction of Kaya was such a win, because it felt focused. It felt like it belonged.
Yeah, and not just that, it does feel a semblance like Sam's.
Yeah.
I don't want a part of this. I don't want to be... Sam always felt like he was a bad guy. He was a monster and he never knew it. And Kaya feels like her gifts are a curse. And it takes seeing that she can have great power and can help people with this. And like Sam, when push comes to shove, she wants to do the right thing.
Right.
I think if you build off, as Mike said, you build off the similar concepts, themes, motifs of characters that work within this world, you relate to them a lot quicker because we're fans of these kind of characters.
Well, that's what makes these characters more, like you said, Thomas, more relatable. They have the same problems that Dean and Sam have gone through. Sam was the reluctant hero. He didn't want to do this. And I think that's what makes them a little bit easier to kind of like these characters, is that we've seen these problems before and we've seen the brothers overcome these problems.
Right.
And I think that's what makes them interacting with these characters and it makes it feel like supernatural. I've got a character here, Kaya, who has the same exact kind of problem that Sam had.
Right.
You know, he got lauded into the dark side. He started drinking demon blood. He had all these things, and it was like
having sex with Ruby.
Having sex with Ruby, being shirtless all the time.
Yeah, buff.
Showing those abs, and the V cut towards his pee-pee.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called, but I call it the V cut towards the pee-pee. Yeah.
You call it V cut towards the pee-pee.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. It's like an arrow towards.
Is that scientific?
Yes, I feel like if I Googled it, that would come up.
Google or Siri. What's the name of the heart by my pee-pee?
What's the V that goes to my pee-pee? No, I just feel like these characters are the same, like you said, Thomas, the same type of problems that we've seen and we've seen the brothers overcome. And we want characters that are flawed are more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool about these characters.
And the thing is too, when you compare what they've done with Patience and Claire and Kaya to what they had with the Bloodlines, Enos was just a character thrown into this world and is asking questions all the time and just he's part of it. Like it didn't feel organic. It felt forced that his loved one was killed by some random guy running across the street. Like it was weird.
Yeah.
He didn't have any struggles outside of what was happening to him. He didn't make any decisions. Patience chooses to give up or leave her current comfy life in order to help somebody. Kaya chooses to help Sam, Dean, and Jack despite the threat against her own life. You know, already they're more interesting and more dynamic as characters. And with the original concept of Supernatural, you know, kind of being Sam's story, but told from Dean's perspective.
Right.
I feel like we could easily set up a similar situation here.
Yep.
You know, Kaya Patience's story told from even Claire or Jody's perspective, somebody from the outside, or you mix it around and whoever you're talking about that week specifically can be the focus point.
Yeah. Now, just really fast, people in the chat room are comparing Kaya and Patience and saying that Patience is very Mary Sue. And I know you had some issues with that.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't care for that definition too much, but also you got to remember the backbone of Supernatural and what it is. It's a horror by design, and a Mary Sue goes hand in hand. Again, I hate that term Mary Sue, but take the definition of a Mary Sue. A Mary Sue is very much a part of horror, specifically slasher horror. So, I mean, that idea of the character kind of goes hand in hand. So that's why you see those types of characters, especially in the earlier seasons, pop in to Supernatural. Now, I do admit that those types of characters are very uninteresting for the most part. However, you also have to remember that Patience is one of 6 characters
and I think
in a show.
I think because I do have a little bit of an issue with how they've portrayed her, and that's why I find Kaya far more interesting off the bat. But I do think it's a couple of things that on her favor. One, it'll be a great dynamic to have her versus Kaya. You know there's going to be tension there from where they came from, their backgrounds, what they value, what they feel is important, their history. I could easily see Claire and Kaya kind of bonding over a lack of family in the very beginning and the stuff they've gone through. Whereas Patience, it's all kind of worked out for her at this time. I could see the drama between those characters. So I think you need to have a foil at that point if you're going to have that kind of group ensemble cast. And I also think
it's different shades of a character.
Yeah.
Or different colors of black, or different shades of black.
50 Shades of Gray.
So
I do have a unconventional room in my home.
Wow.
The bad place.
Yeah, that's what I call the bad place.
I'm just saying that,
but that's
I think we need to be patient with Patience, and it sounds silly, but you have to remember she's one character of 6. It isn't like she's the only character. Now, if she was the only character and the entire show was focused on her, then I'd say, yeah, that's a problem. She's a little too perfect. She has everything going for her, but she's one of 6.
But at the same time,
which means an ensemble cast, when you're writing an ensemble cast, typically
you have a standard character.
You have one character. If you're not, for example, let me backtrack. When you're doing a show that's focused on one protagonist, that character needs to be multi-layered. He needs to cover all spectrums. Okay. But when you're dealing with an ensemble cast, typically by definition, and when you're writing an ensemble cast, and any writing course will tell you this, an ensemble cast isn't made to have multifaceted characters all the way across the board. You have characters.
You have to build up to that.
You have to build up to that. But typically, they each serve a part, and usually they equal one character.
The funny one, the dumb one, the dork, popular, things like that. That's what you see with Friends and How I Met Your Mother, things like that.
Yeah. So all their problems will funnel into the equivalent of one character.
Right.
So again, be patient. I think starting out, you need to have the Mary Sue. You need to have the troubled drug addict. You need to have the
recovering
angst teenager.
Yeah.
You need to have the one who doesn't want to do anything, like Alex, who just wants a normal life.
Yeah.
All these things work together to create more of a dynamic group of individuals that represent people in reality.
Well, it also has clashing personalities. So again, you'll have more drama with that. And I think one thing that...
Think of it as the supernatural version of the facts of life. Think of it as
there
that.
You go.
Yeah, Tootie and am I too old?
Yeah, you're old.
You're old.
You don't know any facts
I know the
of life?
show. I don't know the characters' names.
Am I alone on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never watched
How's that island over there?
Let me give myself... Oh, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
I got scared. That's for me.
All right. I also think that while Patience is kind of the goody two-shoes or has it more together than the other characters, it does pose the question that she's gone through some trauma of her own with the visions and not knowing who's going to live or who's going to die, seeing her grandmother die. You have different levels, like you said, different shades on this spectrum. Does that mean what she's gone through or could be going through soon is any less relevant than what Kaya experienced, or Claire, or Alex for that matter? Is anybody, just because someone's pain might be less, does that mean it's not real to them in perspective?
Yeah.
In the chat room, VW says, why couldn't it have just been Jody/Donna's show with a side of sassy Alex?
That's too much like Sam and Dean.
And also, that's not the CW demo.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. If WB, Warner Brothers, wanted to take the show, the spinoff, and put it to something else,
Amazon
another channel,
or Netflix,
then you could see something like that. But as long as this airs on the CW, it's just not going to happen. The Supernatural show has continued because it's grandfathered in.
Yep.
And if you notice, you keep an eye on their cancellation tactics. Anytime an actor crosses a certain age, the show gets axed.
Yeah.
The only
Supernatural is the odd duck.
And it's only because they are due it, because they made that network. So they are owed, I should say, that.
Yeah.
Plus, Sam and Dean still are incredibly attractive men.
Yeah. I mean, those abs appeal to any demo.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I'm 16 and I like those abs. I'm 25 and I like those abs.
I'm 32. I don't know how a 32-year-old.
You're 62 with that voice.
I was playing the internet.
Are you mining for gold too?
I was playing the internet. Like,
I'm 32.
I was catfishing. That was me typing. I'm 62, but I'm 32 on the internet.
Oh, okay.
I like how you had to explain that. No, trust me, I'm not a miner.
Yeah,
from the 1840s.
Wee doggies, give
I'm
me
just
some
a
gold.
catfisher instead.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, back to the characters, not the one in the room here. With Patience and Kaya, we both have them accepting a little bit of their role in this bigger story. Patience has the visions. She wants to save Jody. She chooses to help somebody. Kaya chooses to help Jack and Sam and Dean.
Well, does she really choose to? I mean, you put a gun to someone's head.
Get in the car.
But after that point, it was after that point.
Shoot you in the face, bitch.
Oh, God.
And the thing is, if you notice, she wasn't.
Do our mouths get like?
That's what Dean did.
He did get angry. He gritted his teeth. He got so gangster, dude. I was waiting for him to turn the gun sideways.
Turn the
I'm
gun
gonna shoot
sideways.
you in the face, motherfucker.
I told you. You didn't go
I
ask
asked you to get in that car, motherfucker. Sorry.
All right.
Dean got black there for a second.
Oh my God. Anyway, Jesus, Ryan.
Sorry.
Apocalypse. That's like another world. All the characters are black.
That would be amazing, dude.
Black Sam.
The Django world.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Django world.
That'd be amazing, dude. I would watch it. That's on BET.
Hey, it's like Black Panther
Supernatural
for Marvel.
on
Why can't we do that?
Supernatural on BET.
I'd like to see that. An entire black cast of hunters.
But the Impala has 22s on it.
Dude, that would be sweet.
Oh my God. All right.
Dude,
you two need to write that later.
The Friday version of Supernatural.
Oh my God.
Dude, that'd be amazing.
Oh my God. You got knocked the fuck out.
He's talking to a Wendigo.
Mickey Mouse is there, apparently.
Dude, that's.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And a horn from a car? I don't even know what the fuck that was.
Thomas is getting annoyed, isn't he?
Yes, he
I
is.
can tell.
Dude, he's so.
Yep.
Hold on. Let me kill this Wendigo and then we get back to the show.
Oh, that's fucking
All right,
great.
that was good.
Yep,
that was
good.
fucking good.
I have nothing else said.
All right, moving forward. Yes, she was abducted by Dean, but she does choose to help Jack. And I think that was an important factor about her character moving forward. But I loved what they did with some of the lore. I love the fact that Dreamwalkers not just are a reality, because with Supernatural, we can kind of assume that any vaguely supernatural thing, whether it's the Wizard of Oz, fiction that could have been inspired by anything, historical stuff, the urban legends, or just flat out monsters, it's pretty much real in this universe.
Yeah.
I like how they did dreamwalking, that it is the glimpse through the veil to the other realities.
It was so good.
Dude, that was so fucking cool. Not just the concept, but I loved how Jack had to tap into that to see the other side, and the special effects with the lightning arcing through their blood veins.
Yeah, that was actually really
that was so cool looking.
Yeah, hats off to the
Awesome
VFX
shot.
team. Love it.
Yes.
Everything surrounding,
and then their eyes actually lighting up
I
like
love
Jack's. That was cool, man.
And honestly, it's something we haven't spoken about, but to me, everything, all the visual effects that's has to do with Jack is different, and it's something we haven't actually seen before in Supernatural. Even the way he uses his power, and how it's it's less a force and more of it's like a sound vibration that he uses.
Yeah, it's different.
It's not really, it's not a power if you look at it.
It's like a time stop and a force.
Doesn't it look like some type of it looks like sound.
It looks like a sound wave.
Yeah. Like a shock wave.
I really, really dig it.
Shockwave,
13 years in the Supernatural,
cool
and they
looking.
come up with something unique to a specific character. I think they had to, right? If you're dealing with Nephilim.
The colors are different, and that's the thing. We're used to red or blue. This is a gold, almost just. It's like you said. It's different for a different. We've never seen a Nephilim before.
We're all blowing it, but what if it was as simple as, "Hey guys, we need to do something new. I'm Dab. We gotta have a new color.
Dab, what color do you think we should use?
I don't know.
All right, well, let me check the chart. We got periwinkle, polka dot. For some reason. Who the fuck wrote polka dot?
What about chartreuse?
And that one loser on the Crossroads podcast, he said something about blue fire, so let's not use blue.
Don't listen to that guy. That guy's an asshole.
an idiot.
I like the idea. We might use it someday, so let's not use blue. We need to save it for Lucifer. But I'm thinking gold.
Oh, gold. We've never used gold before.
Yeah, gold's a good idea.
Fuck it. Let's do it.
What if it's
I too like the Olympics.
What if it's that simple?
Dude, I would laugh my ass off.
There's just a chart, and they've crossed off each color that they've used.
We should ask Adam.
It's a Crayola box of 120, and they just throw crayons out.
They're like,
every time.
chartreuse. All right, so this works.
Hey guys, we had lots of set extension and some digital mats, and you guys are blowing the color.
Dude, we thought it was cool,
I know, right?
Man, whatever.
We threw someone through a wall.
Do you have any idea how much
you're all
work
happy
we
that it's
actually
gold.
did? And you guys, let's draw straws. You like pink, I like gold, you like yellow. That's how easy it was.
Yep.
That's probably what it was. The easiest thing ever.
Yellow's already been used.
Yeah, yellow eyes had yellow eyes.
Oh, that's true.
It might be that. Just they're going down the list.
What's going to happen when they run out of colors?
They're going to start making
polka dot. You'll mix two colors.
Yeah.
Cancel the show.
Yep.
Oh.
Show's over.
Show's over when we run out of colors, guys.
Have you
we're
been to
getting
Home
there.
Depot? The paint swatches, they're never going to run out of colors.
That's a good point.
Holler. Paint swatches.
But speaking of the visual effects, they were on point this episode.
Yeah.
The arcing lightning through the eyes, throwing an angel through the fucking wall. I love that bit when he threw the first angel, Jack.
Yeah.
I was like, because that felt not like a demon who's threw someone and they kind of landed a couple of feet away.
Slapped her, yeah.
She was thrown through like 4 walls, a glass pane, and like down a chute. Like, that was cool, seeing that effect.
Well, I just like seeing that he's got more control over his powers. And
he's been working on them.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, he's pretty legit now.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
But going back a bit, starting with the dream walking, I loved that idea that they can walk through the realities, that it's more than just seeing it. A weaker dream walker can see the area and can feel the presence, but someone as powerful as Kaya is actually physically harmed or more in some ways walks through the veil, that boundary just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that idea, that glimpse of the multiverse that we get.
That was so. What I loved about that is it wasn't like blam in your face. Here's a bunch of different worlds. It was like you almost had to stop it.
Yeah, you would.
You would have to stop it and look if you really wanted to see it. But it got the point across. Like, hey, there's about 10 other at least that
we saw in a single 2-second glimpse. Yeah. Who knows how much more is out there? The whole area is has a space visual to it.
It was super cool. Super duper cool.
Again, another way in which Supernatural has made the possibilities endless.
Yep.
And what I loved before we even saw that multiverse shot was when Jack asks Kaya for 5 seconds to show her the other worlds beyond there, because she's only ever visited the bad place. And
why does that make me laugh? It shouldn't make me laugh.
Because you're a fucking child. That's why it makes you laugh.
I think I am a child.
But the fact, and kudos to the actress on that, how she goes from mistrusting and sad and angry to just unbridled joy at seeing some of these other realities, seeing some of the other possibilities. It really felt to me, I was immersed, because it felt like for a split second she saw, the glimpse of what could be, the other potentials. I mean, imagine that if you were that person.
Someone posted in the chat room. Someone actually screen grabbed it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so, dude, that's so
But imagine
cool,
if you were that person and to get a glimpse behind the curtain.
What if she saw a world where nobody wears clothes and she saw everyone naked? Sam and Dean was naked. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Their dicks are so much smaller than I thought.
Oh. She wouldn't be happy then. Come on.
I know, that's why I did that in a sad voice, Thomas.
If you look at that shot in the chat room, though, each one of those little dots, the stars, is
pockets.
A different reality.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that concept that she gets a glimpse of that for just a half second even. Or that Jack has the power to even navigate through that.
And speaking of the dream walking, I like how they use it all to tie back into what works in Supernatural, because there's things that are established in the world of Supernatural and things that you have to always go back to. You can't veer too far away from the original concept.
American folklore.
Right. And the fact that they decided to utilize American folklore and going back and connecting it to the first people or Native Americans, I think that was smart. And I'm glad they did it, despite there being a growing trend to not use certain things like that, because there's that new buzzword out there known as othering or others. And that when you utilize certain things like that, those writing tropes, people call them othering. And you're basically saying that Native Americans don't belong. They're not one of us. They're exotic peoples. And it sounds ridiculous as I'm saying it, because I think the idea is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people now shunning and not using or utilizing Native American culture anymore in fear
because of that
they're going to be accused of othering a culture. And I'm so glad the writers didn't
bend the knee on that.
Because I felt like in order to stay true to Supernatural, why not tie something as epic as dreamwalking into the Native American culture, which is a very part of the show,
part of the culture,
which is American folklore. It just makes sense on multiple levels.
It's silly to hide something like that or be afraid of it, because it can be used in such a great way like this to inspire storytelling. There's nothing wrong with storytelling based on history. Yeah. It is part of their culture. Whether or not whatever you think of it, that is part of it. The idea of something as silly as leprechauns and fairy folk being part of Irish culture.
Yeah.
It's part of it. Why shy away from that, especially when Supernatural has been built on those things.
Yeah, and tamales and horchata, part of a Mexican culture. So, I mean, there's just
thing.
Yeah, it's just things you have to do.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And cocaine.
Well, you got to do cocaine.
Yeah.
Dude, how much of a Castiel vibe did you get from that entire sequence?
What sequence?
With Jack saying, I like cocaine, and not having social cues.
Not even knowing what it was.
It's so good.
He's like, that door was triple locked. Was it? And he just walks out. I love the actor for how well
he's good, dude.
He is really
he's
good,
so
dude.
fucking good. He has like watched every Castiel scene and just tried to mimic that as best as he could. And it really does feel like he is far more related to them than Lucifer, which I do love that touch. That Jack said, why would I search for Lucifer? You guys are my family. And that Dean had that moment of acceptance for him, which is a huge thing. Not just for Jack as a person. You see his whole smile. It changes what could happen with this character in that single little bit. And I like that because it shows how much certain things matter to us. How important little phrases like that are, which again, to me, is a relatable thing. You know, how many people do you know like long for their dad's approval or something like that, or a parent to say they're proud of you? You know, that acceptance. Jack gets a little bit of that from Dean, the person who had none of it for him just a few episodes ago. I love that bit there.
Some people are confused with what we're discussing about the othering. I don't guessed 151. TK421, why aren't you at your post? Othering is we're not talking about cultural appropriation. We are talking about othering. Like, that's the thing now. And every time, in fact, they deal with it in season 1 of Supernatural, that the Native American bugs episode.
Yep.
They accuse the writers of othering the Native American culture.
The concept that you make them different.
You make them exotic.
White people are standard
and
all black people have magical abilities.
Yeah.
Like that idea with like Bagger Vance and even Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Like that concept that if you're white, you're normal. If you're another race, you have some special ability.
It's in our talking circles constantly now with people that my friends that we talk about writing with. It's something that's now become a plague on a lot of writers who are being blasted for
using
so-called othering.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they're just using culture to express a interesting aspect that they then use as a way to tell a story that's steeped in mythology or lore, because there's culture there. And because there's culture there, there's lots of history that you can use as inspirational cues to create a fantastical story. And people say that's othering. It is silly.
You can still buy dream catchers today.
Yeah,
it's part of
still
it.
a thing. Yeah, they still exist.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
I dated a Native American for about a year and a half, and it's a thing.
Yeah, it's silly to act like it's not part of it. And there's so many possibilities with that. I mean, we saw here, they took something as simple as dream walking and turned it into multi-interdimensional travel.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Super cool.
Holy shit.
It was badass.
But yeah. I think the biggest question, because of all of this and the crossing over and taking
I know exactly where you're going with this.
And taking a peek into these other worlds, will there be consequences for trying to cross over?
Consequences?
Right, because Billy warned them that the universes are like a house of cards and that they didn't want people...
Don't stick your dick in it.
Yeah, people crossing over.
They get accused of sexual misconduct and they get fired from the last season.
Interdimensional sexual misconduct.
Sorry, he said House of Cards, so I was just curious.
Wow.
Is Kevin Spacey in there?
Oh, I thought you were saying because I said stick your dick in it.
No. I was talking... Never mind. It's a dumb joke.
So is this going to be like a hurdle that the Winchesters are going to have to dodge? Because, I mean, Billy specifically said, we don't need that. We don't need a Winchester mess up. Is that what you said? The Winchesters dabbling into other universes?
Yes.
And they specifically traveled.
All right, so we're going to do exactly that.
We're going to do you anyway. Yeah, fuck you, Billy. We're going to do exactly what we want to do. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think Billy's going to hurt them. I mean, she's specifically said that they're important and that she sees the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But is this going to create a consequence? Is Death or Billy going to come after them and question their decisions? Because that's kind of a big deal.
I think, let me ask you guys this. That when they first like popped up in that other world or that other dimension, did you think it was purgatory at first?
No.
Purgatory 2 now with more blue.
Yeah,
that's what I wrote in my notes.
I don't know. I just felt like I was like, man, what is this? And then obviously they showed that it wasn't purgatory, but it
has a similar vibe. Obviously, there's a forest, there's monsters everywhere. There's no way denying that, but I think it'll be distinctly different enough once we get there.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't think it was because we saw glimpses of that world throughout the episode
with the skull and
the massive skull.
Yeah, so I knew it was something. It was the bad place. It was the place where that creature with the robe, with the dark robe, was in the background, walking, scurrying about. So,
Voldemort.
Yeah,
it's Voldemort.
I think it's hard.
Show killer Ryan.
I know, right?
Hey, sorry.
I think it's hard not to draw that comparison, but again, we'll have more to go on when we return. So I think they're going to. They know the fact that purgatory exists is something they have to distance themselves from in some way. So I think we'll be all right.
Wait, did you really think it was purgatory? Is that an issue?
No, I did not think it was purgatory, but I did write down here Purgatory Blue or Purgatory 2 now with more blue, because it did seem like visually it seemed very similar.
So also that so VW in the chat room posted the skull, like a picture of the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that thing is gnarly,
monstrous.
Looking. Yeah, that is that's something we haven't really seen in Supernatural,
which is why it's going to be a distinctly different place. So I think that just needs time to establish who's there. I mean, we see that at the end of this episode with the footprint. But I think, Mike, you're right. That is probably the biggest question. Not even how are they going to get out of this place or what's going to happen with Jack and Mary, is what, if anything, will this have a consequence in regards to Billy and Death? I think the fact that you introduce this season has been so focused. There's not a reason to introduce Billy as Death and talk about how it's a house of cards. You can't mess with that. We don't need that. And then have them see the grand picture of the multiverse and have that not be related in any way. I think it's too big of a concept and too much of a coincidence. So the question as to what will exactly happen, I don't know. Maybe that could come into play as far as Kaya is concerned, or Jack. Because if anybody could kill Jack, it would be Death itself.
Is there consequences for crossing? Meaning, is it creating problems within the...
Does it make micro tears in the universe?
Yeah.
Does it upset
There's got to be
natural order?
Right?
Yeah, well, if Billy was concerned by it, then there's got to be something that... I mean, she specifically said, all tumble and fall apart?
So is Jack the one who may pay that consequence because he's the one who can make it possible?
He's the one that actually...
If Sam and Dean are important but can't do it on their own, and Jack is this abomination or oddity and has that kind of power, is Death going to say, I need to reap this individual because of what they can do?
Yeah, those are definitely some questions.
Just take someone away that can't die?
But has there ever been somebody like this? I mean, Death can... Original Death said... Original Death said that he will reap God one day.
Right.
And we don't believe currently, at the very least, that Jack will supersede God's powers.
Right.
So I don't believe that he could fight against Death in that regard.
If Jack, I think we got a few questions answered, even when it comes to Jack's power. I think we can definitively say Jack is nowhere near as powerful as God, because I don't think God would have a problem crossing over into universes.
I'm sure that's where he goes.
Yeah, that's probably where him and
Amara are.
Yeah.
And I think also the question dealing with these universes, I mean, if we go back to season 11, Chuck specifically said he created multiple worlds that the darkness destroyed like a child having a tantrum.
Yeah.
So maybe these are ramifications. These are worlds that were messed up due to the darkness. Who knows? There's ways to...
Or the other ones he's made in the time he's been gone.
Yeah. So the fact that Jack needs the help of Kaya to even travel, I think that's a good way to... I don't want to say handicap him, but show that he's not all powerful.
Right. He couldn't do it on his own.
He had to have her there to show him the way.
It gives him a limitation, which is good because we've seen him be able to
Superman,
to take anything, including getting stabbed in the gut by an angel blade. Which, speaking of angels, I loved the little bit of new lore, I guess, we got with them. And something I like that this season has done so far is kind of recapture some of the fear or ferocity of not just angels, but demons as well.
Yeah.
They are a threat.
Yep.
They're militant style. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And that they actually have a purpose, as we've discussed before.
Isn't that great?
It's fucking great. The fact that they are trying to stop their own extinction is a really interesting concept, not just because it puts a limitation on the powers of heaven. We know we've had countless angels slaughtered, but we didn't know was there going to be a new breed? Is there an unlimited number of them? I mean, they all have names, so clearly there's a limit.
Right.
Everybody knows everybody. It's like that high school classroom. It's just getting smaller and smaller.
I just think, I think what kind of blows me away is that they've, like you said, Thomas, they've gone back to making angels and demons scary. But at the end of the day, angels are trying to save themselves, but they're going around about it in the worst fucking way.
Which is a very angel-like thing to do. But it is a concept that you can kind of sympathize with. There's only so many of them. God abandoned them again. Jack's the only one with the ability to potentially make more of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, they're going about it like dickheads, but you can see why.
I think out of all the agendas the angels have had, all their goals in the past, how many years would they've been introduced? 6, 7, 8
season
years?
4.
I think this is the first one that I can get behind.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for them,
but you understand.
But I get it. I understand. It's their survival.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, even compared to the other ones, obviously Asmodeus has selfish desires, as does Lucifer. And honestly, even Sam and Dean, they want their mom back, but that's one human life who will have to die. Angels are trying to stop the extinction of their race. And what's to say what'll happen to human souls in heaven when they're gone, if they're gone? How does that work then? There's all kinds of questions to that. So again, you can sympathize with this idea. Now, the fact, and I loved and Ryan, we spoke about this before we started the show, their anti-sigil blast.
We've never seen that before, dude. And I think it was cool because I'm like, why are they fanning out? That makes no sense. Like when she, had one group go left and one group go right. And,
I thought they're just going to spread out and like start searching the boat, but I loved that. It's a great visual cue of their power in some way. It's something we hadn't seen before. Before, the warding had always kept them entirely away or sent them packing. The fact that they have a way to combat that gives you a little bit new lore for the angels, and the visual effects team did a great job having it flare and bleed on the metal rusting, the fiery look to it was great.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the visuals, but also the audio, the choice sound design and the beating. It reminded me
drums.
It reminded me of something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Where you have all the people
kind of orc
working together,
the war drums are coming.
Magic.
The threat is coming.
Yeah.
The walls won't hold.
It was really cool.
Yeah. I love that. And the question then is, if there's only so many of them and they're not very powerful and they constantly losing to Sam and Dean and any fucking, Joe who's got an angel blade, we can almost bet all the horses that Apocalypse Michael is coming to our world.
He's coming. It's just a matter of
Jack
time.
is on his side of the veil.
Yep. Michael's coming.
Jesus.
Wow, I was just...
Are you talking about yourself right now?
No,
like a current situation?
I don't speak of myself in the third person.
Liar.
Michael said.
Michael's coming right now, honey.
Yeah.
Michael's coming.
I'm going to need a rag. Or a tube sock.
Michael's going to need a tube sock. Thank you.
But the question is, as Lucifer has said.
You said it.
I know, but it got grosser when you said it.
As Lucifer has said just recently, this version of Michael's far stronger, far more powerful. It's a completely different reality with completely different rules. So
like Highlander mentality.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So if he's this powerful, when he eventually makes it to our side, will the rest of the angels follow him? Because A, it's Michael. B, he's so much more powerful than them. And C, they have no one else. All the major players have been killed. There's like 12 of them left, presumably. Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
He'd be the best bankable thing. Yes, it would mean subjugation to Apocalypse Michael's way of thinking.
But isn't it that what they
no
wanted?
Different than what they had in season 4?
That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted that to happen.
They don't know. They're sheep without a shepherd. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're kind of running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Everyone they've promoted to power since the death of Zachariah and the imprisonment of Michael has led them astray and cost hundreds of lives. why wouldn't you say, I'm done, this is the only choice we have, so fuck it? That's a whole new level of threat.
Yeah, and just from a story standpoint, when it comes to the writing, I also feel like it would help tighten up the season 13 myth arc a bit. Not that I have a problem with it, however,
unifying to bigger threats but less numerous,
combining some of the moving cogs to one.
It's not just Alt Michael and what the Earth Angels want. Now that's a unified front.
Yeah, I feel like it would tighten it up just a bit, especially because
Lucifer has his own goals, but now he's working with Castiel and us, kinda.
Yeah,
kinda is the right word there. Yes,
especially now that we're crossing over into the second half of the season, it feels like eventually, as we get there, that would be a very organic way to kind of start combining some of the
concepts.
I feel like it would work and it would make sense.
Yeah, especially because with where the Angels are at, they're desperate. They're desperate for survival. It's that whole back an animal into a corner, it'll fight twice as hard. If you leave the Angels with no choices but alternate Michael,
they're going to come at
why
you.
wouldn't they?
Yeah.
The only otherwise they face the threat of Lucifer, the Nephilim, Sam and Dean, Castiel, who just won't fucking die.
Just can't. Yeah, he can't go away.
Why wouldn't they? Put all of their money on that? It makes sense. And I think that's going to be really interesting moving forward.
I'm anxious to see it because I don't think we've really seen truly Angels backed into a corner like this. And I think, like you said, they're way more savage about what they want to get done in this point because they, like you said, they're dying out.
Yeah.
And what happens when Angels die out? Like, we have no idea.
Does heaven fall apart in some way?
What happens?
Run silently on its own? Can no humans? I mean, what is their role? We'll find out. All right, guys. Don't forget to check out the Supernatural The Crossroads video cast through Patreon, where we do retrospective reviews, additional discussions, theories, and our general geek outs and, inappropriate jokes. Plus, we are starting a Wayward Sisters edition, which is available to anybody who pledges $10 or more a month on Patreon. It's just the same exact show, but we will be talking specifically about the Wayward Sisters show, concepts. We've done 1 or 2 episodes at this point about where it's going. So if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, head on over to patreon.com/RainmanDigital to pledge.
And just to clarify, because I think I wrote that up kind of shitty, the video cast itself is $10 a month to pledge, and when you pledge, you get the video cast, which is the retrospective reviews and everything below,
which is a lot of stuff.
And if you just want to spend $5 a month, that you get the Wayward Sisters edition along with all of our other podcast shows for $5 and everything below that, behind the scenes video,
10 minutes at the Crossroads.
Right. However, if you do the video cast, you get all of it anyways.
And you can see us.
And you can see how hideous I am.
And that's worth the money.
That's
to laugh at Ryan.
Yeah. That's totally worth $10.
I wonder if there's a universe where Ryan and I are good looking guys.
And then I'm the ugly one?
Well, you're the ugly one anyways.
Well, but like uglier.
Oh. You're like...
I like how he just immediately went in. So I'm the good-looking one, right?
Yeah, he just
so in this world, am I ugly?
That's a well-established fact.
Thomas is drinking his own Kool-Aid.
He is, dude. It's like tropical punch over there, dude.
It's a blue tropical punch.
Actually, if we were in the black version of Supernatural, he'd be drinking grape Kool-Aid.
See, that wasn't a dig against me. That was just racist.
It might have been mildly racist.
That didn't hurt me. That was just you
mildly racist. But whatever.
My God. All right, speaking of controversial, let's talk about the thing that absolutely shocked me in this episode.
Besides Ryan's joke?
Not this show, the episode of Supernatural.
Come on.
And frankly, that didn't shock me.
Yeah, he should know better, I know.
We had... Jesus.
That's my anthem.
That's your anthem?
Bitch, motherfucker. Sit on some scissor. Sip.
He would know the words.
Of course I know the words, dude. I'm way more ghetto than you.
That's
never been questioned.
This would be the Supernatural intro for that universe.
Oh, dude. And they roll up with a donked out fucking Impala with 22 spinners, dude.
Yeah.
It'd be a Ford Mustang in that world.
Dean's got a gold grill. Sam's got a diamond grill.
Keep the dope fiends higher than the Goodyear blimp.
And then Yellow Eyes is actually yellow, like diamonds in his eyes.
Yeah, and Medea can be Bobby. And instead of Dad's journal, they use Medea's diary.
Oh my God. This is the worst
A diary
idea.
of a black woman. Angry black woman.
Tyler Perry shows up as Castiel.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Dude, that'd be amazing. I would watch
terrible.
I'd
Now
watch
just
the hell out
lost
of that.
everybody who's ever listened to us.
No, I think we should do a parody spoof. It should be like SNL. They do stuff like that, right? So we can do it.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
Hollywood Show does,
That's
music
true,
videos.
right? We'll
They do music video.
That's true.
Air quotes parodies, and we can just do
The same.
satirical
I would, dude. It'd be hilarious.
bits. Yeah,
All
it'd be
right.
funny. We'd be hated by some people.
Yeah.
So
We probably already are.
VW says Black Supernatural would literally be Sam and Dean finding a ghost case and not going into the haunted house because that's white people's business.
Where have I heard that before?
That is amazing.
I think we need to get her on the writing staff immediately. If
Oh
we end
my
up doing
God,
that
is so
parody,
funny.
Oh God.
this is for
This is the intro.
This is for VW. we just brought in our first writer, Brian.
There we go.
We have 3 people in the writing room now.
Hell yeah, dude. I think it'd be a hit.
All right.
Moving
Moving on.
Thomas, have you ever heard that song ever?
No, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm way too white.
Thomas doesn't even understand
The jokes we're making?
He just smiles
Pretty
and nods
much.
sometimes.
He's like, that's racist.
You're the white. I'm the whitest motherfucker around.
I'm whiter than sour cream.
Pretty much. If you've seen the video cast, you know that for a fact.
Dude, I think that'd be a funny show.
Anyway, moving on to the bit that actually shocked me in this episode was Dean actually pulling a gun on an innocent person. This was unprecedented. This for me, I was shocked by. This is something that Demon Dean would do, though.
I was not shocked, and this is why I wasn't.
I understood
shocked.
why.
Yes,
but I was shocked that they actually had him do that.
I guess the thing that it didn't shock me, and the reason
Maddie wants in the writing room too. I think she's jealous of VW, so she's got to pitch us something.
Maddie, you got to pitch us something. VW hit us with something pretty good.
140 characters or less. Put the log line and the chat, and we'll induct you into our parody. Black verse.
The black
verse.
Black or natural. Dipping on some scissor.
I love it.
Oh, that's good.
Jesus.
No, I think it didn't shock me, and the reason that it didn't shock me was that the thing with Dean lately is that his whole focus is mom.
Right.
He thought he lost mom. Now he knows that mom's back. He wants to do anything physically possible to save his mother. And I think, as soon as he found out that Kaya could do that for him and she was not really willing, I'm desperate at this point. I think it made sense. I mean, yes, it was a little out of character.
I don't think it was.
I'm with Mike on this one. I think. Go ahead, Mike.
No, it's all right.
I meant him blowing up, like getting really angry, like him saying, "Hey."
I think people aren't used to seeing that type of Dean.
Yeah.
But I put this in the show notes because I think this is where people need to. Their mind needs to linger to this. Okay. Let's not get upset on the what.
Right.
I think it's best to analyze the why.
Mm-hmm. That's why you should analyze anything, because there's a reason behind it.
The writers know what they are doing. They're not purposely destroying Dean's characterization. They are purposely doing things out of character to show the audience where Dean's head is at this season. And this should make the people who were complaining about his goofy antics in Tombstone, where they were saying that he's out of character, he was just depressed and borderline suicidal a couple episodes ago, and now he's happy. This should show you that he is nowhere near okay. The fact that Dean pulled a gun on an innocent child should tell you that he is not in a good place at all. And it fits exactly the Dean we were introduced to in the very first episode of this season. It's very consistent with who Dean is currently right now, and with all the loss that's mounting up at their front door. Castiel was the Band-Aid. He helped for a bit, but that problem is still there.
And that's the thing, is this was a perfect way to show how unstable Dean still is. With the Tombstone episode, as you said, Mike, it was a Band-Aid. We got to see a little bit of him smile, and even Sam said it's nice to see a smile again. but he's by no means okay. That's why when he sees Mary through the vision, thanks to Jack, he pans off to the side and looks, and the rest of the world fades out. Sam, Jack, what's happening in the rest of the world fades out because he is unstable. He is damaged. And as Mike said, the mounting loss is having an effect. He will do whatever it takes to stop any of this.
And what's
to get her back, the person who's mattered to him the most.
Yep, that's the key ingredient right there. His mother. That's why the darkness gave him the thing he wants most.
The most. We forget that. That's what she said at the end of season 11.
His entire life has been about abandonment. Even though it was beyond her control, kids don't know the difference. In his eyes, he's been alone his entire life. He has raised himself. He has raised his brother. And all he's ever wanted was someone to take care of him.
He said that at the end of season 12. He had to be a parent.
And that was the problem with him and Mary. Mary's all, I'm not going to be that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to wipe your nose, Dean.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing.
The idolization of her. We talked about this at length in season 12, that she was always put on a pedestal.
Yep.
And that he finally had a semblance of that, and how much that loss hit him. And as he was abandoned as a child in his own eyes, whether it was by Mary's death or by John leaving them in hotel rooms to hunt, he's not going to do the same to her. He is not going to abandon her the way he was abandoned as a child.
Exactly. And that, see, Thomas, that's perfectly said. And that's how they're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of the bullshit exposition that we get so much on TV that people complain about.
You're so sad.
And now they're
Why?
showing you.
This is filmmaking.
And people
this is
still want to complain.
Storytelling.
This is showing you the guy pulled a gun out on a girl. He's not okay.
No, by no means is he okay. Even when mom comes back, if she does, he still won't be okay. There's no going back to okay.
Yeah. This is an excellent decision by the writers to show that he is not all right. I mean, this is something we've been questioning.
Because it's also an action.
Well,
Dean as a character chose to do something. His actions are speaking louder than his words, and we don't have to agree with them.
No.
But we do understand why he did the thing he did.
Well, it always goes back to, too, with the Winchesters, they will do anything for family. And I think,
that line's becoming blurred.
It is very blurred. And I think, do I think that Dean probably, after he realized what he did, regretted it?
You can tell in his face.
You can tell that he's like, oh God, why did I do that? But at the end of the day, like, how many times have we seen that? They make a decision based on family, and then later on, they're like, well, shit, that was not a very good decision.
And the thing is, I don't understand 100% why people get upset by it, because this is more realistic. This kind of anger and rage at the world is how he should have acted when Bobby died, how he should have acted when Cass was gone and lost in purgatory, how he kind of acted when Kevin died. This is how people react to loss. They're unstable, and it takes a very long time for people to become normal again. And anything can set you off and send you down the wrong path, whether it's anger and drinking and violence or depression and sadness and self-harm.
I'm glad.
You never know.
I'm glad they did this.
Yeah, I think it was brilliant.
I felt bothered by it. I was
and that is the key.
And that's the point.
I was uncomfortable. And for the first time in several years, the show shocked me.
That's the
in a
point.
way that made sense.
That's the point.
What do you think I'm talking about?
I'm agreeing with you.
God, you guys are so angry. I love it.
I'm being Costanza, okay?
Yeah. That's exactly how you do this. Not just saying he's sad and over mine, he's all right because Cass is back. Anyway, on with the show. No.
I absolutely I'm glad you and I are on the same page, Thomas, because I was so happy that it was jarring.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
That's drama.
What did he just do? And it just said 1,000 words. That action that took all of 5 seconds showed the desperation. And that's all you needed to tell the audience where he's at.
And when he's back in the boat with them, he even apologizes to her, saying, you shouldn't have been brought into this, when they thought they were screwed.
And I'm hoping she doesn't forgive him. I'm hoping
no, she shouldn't.
That she has issues with Dean moving forward.
She
into
got
future
dragged
episodes.
into this entire life by him.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it doesn't get resolved.
Yeah.
I want her to be upset with Dean for what he did. I want there to be
for a long time.
I want there to be a lack of trust. This is what creates great drama
and that can make drama,
great television.
And if you think about it, that makes drama in the Wayward Sisters spinoff because Jodie, Claire, so many of them trust Sam and Dean implicitly, and Kaya was wronged by him.
Yep.
Kaya's life, as fucked as it may have been, is now way more involved and dangerous because of him.
Yeah.
That's good storytelling. Actions have consequences and we move forward. And our characters aren't just erased and back to normal at the end of the episode. They have fucking problems.
Yeah,
like
this
we
isn't
all
50
do.
first dates after, like, they don't just forget after the fact.
So I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable.
That was the whole point of the scene.
Yeah.
You're supposed to feel that.
You're supposed to say, as I did,
holy shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure he really did it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious.
Blacked
like,
out.
No,
forgot.
I was
like, is this a dream? I thought of that for a second. Like, is this a vision that Patience is going to have? Or
yeah.
Yes, that's kind of, my mind was trying to make sense of it. I was like, wow. And then after it didn't go back to anything else, I was like,
fuck.
This really just happened. This is pretty damn fucking cool. It's something that I would never had expected the writers to actually pull the trigger on, because unfortunately, sometimes
we like to keep our characters in a stasis bubble.
Yeah.
And this is something that I would have imagined
and also lots of writers nowadays listen and care too much
about what we say.
Social media and what they are saying rather than telling a story that actually matters. And I think this is an example of them saying, you know what? I don't really care what they're going to say. There are going to be people out there who are upset that we're making Dean pull a gun out on a girl. And you know what? It makes sense to his character. We're going to do it. And I would love to see the pitch for that. Like, what did Barons have to do? Did he have to pitch the idea to Dab? Because I can't imagine Dab just saying, yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I guarantee
there had to be some talking about it.
There had to have been some pushback, even from Jensen Ackles' standpoint.
Yeah.
I imagine him reading the script. He says, wait a second, this is what I do. I would love to be a fly on the wall and find out how exactly this was pitched.
Yeah. Especially, and like you said, Mike, they listen sometimes too much to the fans. If you wanted to do it exactly as the fans said, then Breaking Bad would never have had Walter White go bad.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
And
spoilers.
And there would never be a black versus Supernatural either.
Yeah,
exactly.
Black or Natural would never be a thing.
Well, maybe.
Terrible name.
No, it's a great name.
It's funny, but Jesus God. Anyway, I think that was a brilliant move, and I'm excited to see what they do with it moving forward.
What, Black or Natural?
No,
Me
not
too.
that.
I can't wait for that.
Plus, Sam's going to have a discussion with Dean, like, dude, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
They kind of had it in the car,
yeah.
but there was obviously people listening in. When they're by themselves in this alternate universe.
You also have to remember another thing. It's a writing gimmick. Not only did it serve, it was dual serving. Not only did it work to convey an idea, like we were discussing about Dean,
it worked to
and where he's at. It worked to progress the story, but also it created a trust between Jack and Kaya.
Instantly.
It wasn't about the relationship between Dean and Kaya. It was about the relationship between Kaya and Jack, and that they needed to work together in order to cross over to that world and save Mary Winchester. And the best way to do that is to have her push away from Dean, to create that wedge to where she doesn't quite trust Dean, and allow Jack to be the good guy that then convinces her and becomes the person that she can trust. It worked. It pushed her to Jack.
Yeah. In an instant. As good writing.
Yeah, it really was.
Speaking of which, we get to see Jack, as we said a little bit earlier, his powers have immensely increased.
He's been working on those, man.
And we find out that he didn't go off the handle trying to find Lucifer. He's gone off trying to do something good and wanted to save Mary from the apocalypse world.
The thing, man, that really bums me out about Jack, and we had talked about this when we first got introduced to him, is that they're doing such an amazing job of making us like him that it's going to come down to him breaking our heart. I could see it this whole episode. I'm like, man, he really, in the 4 episodes we've seen him, you know,
I think 5.
I'm like, man, I'm really starting to like this character, and it just bums me out because I know that's what's going to happen, dude. It's going to suck.
And because I think they're already trying it out on us. Like the fact that they let us for the first 2.5 acts served as a little bit of misguidance. Like we were,
he's killing people, and
yeah, and I already started feeling bothered by it. I'm like, oh, not already. It's too soon. But it did work to build that suspense and to make us think that Kaya's life was in jeopardy. So it did work.
The misdirection worked on that.
Yeah.
No,
that's the word I was looking for. Misdirection.
Yeah.
But you're right, Ryan, and I think we still have a lot to fear as far as it comes with Jack's storyline, where he's going to go as a character, what he's going to do ultimately. But it isn't. They didn't do it too soon. They're making him even more fucking likable.
I know.
He tried to do the right thing.
I like cocaine.
He's selfish. He's funny. He's selfishly helping Sam and Dean at the risk of his own life. He's trying to make Kaya feel like he can help her. He wants to help her.
He knows what it's like to be different.
Exactly. And that little bit there, I mentioned it earlier in the car, where they think he's after Lucifer, and that wasn't even an idea in his head. That he's nothing to him.
Dude, the family line.
You are my family.
Ugh.
Sam, Dean, Castiel.
Right in the feels.
Like right in the fucking feels. Don't do that, man. Don't say that.
Don't put us in the feels and make me feel shit.
Because now anything he does, whether it was intentional or not, because let's face it, he's going to be the reason alternate universe Michael comes into our world. There's no other way that works. So but that hit so close to home. He's so naive and he's trying so hard, but people are going to take advantage of that moving forward, specifically Apocalypse World Michael and potentially Lucifer moving forward. And who knows exactly where he's going to end up with that, because he's now trapped on the other side in the Apocalypse World, which I knew that's kind of where we were going the second Kaya started to struggle with the flipped images. It's very easily telegraphed, but I knew it was something like, oh fuck, this is not going to end at all like we want it to.
Well, dude, it's a mid-season finale. It's not going to end like we want it to. I know,
but I had a little bit of hope, right? We see her for the first time seeing multiple worlds. She has a hard time focusing, concentrating. It's new powers, new untouched abilities, and she ends up sending everyone different places. She herself gets teleported God knows how many miles, kills 6 or 7 angels in a breath thanks to Jack's powers, which I loved. The melted angel blades and the burnt wings on the side of the wall.
Dude, that was cool.
We've never seen him just vaporized. Like Lucifer has snapped his fingers and they explode. So we've seen that kind of power,
but we've never seen a melted angel
but multiple of them in a shockwave that not only sent people to 2 different realities, but teleported a third character or fourth character somewhere else entirely and vaporized them in an instant.
That was such a rad
That was
shot.
awesome, a great shot, and left an open doorway to our world. And I think that's a key element as to who has the door. Is it on the side of the bad place where Sam and Dean have been trapped? Is there a door on their end that they have to find? Or is that door to Apocalypse World, and Michael, if he finds it, can just walk through?
Yeah.
And Jack's trapped with Mary, which probably the best for her because of his powers alone. So
I liked it. I thought it was honestly
a great setup.
It took me by surprise because what I had expected was they opened the door and allowed something to cross through.
Right.
That's what I had thought originally was going to happen. But to see them stuck in the other worlds, I think ultimately that's pretty damn smart.
I think it's a better idea.
It's a good thing for a lot of reasons, but also number one, it helps with the backdoor pilot because now we have a focus of the backdoor pilot, which is going to need Sam and Dean will need the help of their friends to get them back. So that's kind of a nice little setup there as well. So everything just feels, like I said, seamless. That all flows together. Not only do we get our story, but we also get a nice little setup. There we go. Yeah.
Not just that, but I mean, who knows what else happened from that?
Yeah, it could be anything.
Did
honestly.
she rip through other realities?
Yeah, where's that portal at?
Will death come into play? Were there portals elsewhere? Did something else, like she sent them to these places, did something else come back with them that we don't know about right now?
Dinosaurs.
Is Godzilla a real thing?
Gojira.
Dinosaurs going to be running through the streets.
Is it dinosaurs?
Lost world.
Is it dinosaurs or is it going to be like some mutant monster Godzilla setup.
That skull looked pretty.
Well, velociraptors, the easiest remedy for them is to know gymnastics and fight them.
And also don't go in the long grass.
If you watch Lost World, that's how you defeat them.
You don't go in the long grass. That's how you die.
Right. That's how you get got.
Yeah. That's how you get gutted.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a great cliffhanger setup with that.
It was good. It felt more like a season finale than a mid-season finale.
It really did.
Yeah.
And when you think back at how much has occurred in 9 episodes, that has only really had 2, maybe 3 off the beaten path as far as the direct main story goes.
Yeah.
Shit, dude. We still have so much for the rest of this season.
We still got a lot coming.
So I think with that, guys, we got to move into our final thoughts here a little bit. Any other final notes anybody wants to say before you give a grade? Ryan?
No, not really. I have nothing.
What do you grade?
Okay.
The mid-season finale.
Well, this goes without saying, but it's an A. And I'm actually, before this, I was not, really super duper, don't take this wrong, super duper excited for Wayward Sisters, but I think with the introduction of Kaya, and I did like Patience, I think the introduction that they gave us in this episode was very, and this is going to sound weird, but very supernatural. She was very much fit right in the world right off the bat. Like we said, she's got baggage, she's got problems. And I think that's what we're accustomed to with characters in Supernatural. And I think that's what made her feel realistic or real in this world. We got so many cool things in this. I mean, I know we blew the visual effects earlier, but I do want to tap into that again. Like just the shots where Jack is touching people's foreheads and showing them like that look, the gold in their eyes and the gold spider webbing coming off their, where he's touching them was pretty freaking cool, man.
Aladdin's I Can Show You the World plays in your head.
I can show you the world. Like, I don't know, man. Like that shot was very, very cool. The angels pounding on the ground, and then not only just them pounding on the ground, but the sigils burning away.
Yeah.
That was a cool shot, watching the shockwave blow them away. And Mike talked about it too. The sound wave or shockwave or whatever the hell you want to call it that Jack does is new and fresh and just cool looking.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this episode from the standpoint, like, and I typically grade these mid-season finales and premieres or whatever on how invested I am in the story. And this one, I truly was invested in what was going on. And at the end, I was like, whoa, this leaves a very large opening. And that pan out shot with them standing in the footprint, dude, I was like, holy shit, where are we going with this? Like,
yeah,
this episode, I think for me, like we said at the beginning of the show, is probably the best mid-season finale we've gotten at least 2 to 3 years. It left questions, but not questions where it was like, oh no, questions where I really, truly, that's Jurassic Park.
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
It just questions where I'm like super excited to find out the answers to them. So I give this an A. And I am so excited. Sucks we got to wait to get the start of the second half, but I am really excited to see where we're going. And I don't think I've been this excited for a while.
Yeah. It's interesting. Mike, what are your thoughts on this one so far?
Well,
love this song, by the way.
I feel amazing. Like it was an A episode. I feel like it was clever. It was well thought out. The world of Supernatural has been expanded upon in a way like we've never seen before. Yeah. It might be one of the better mid-season finales. Even going back to the earlier seasons, there were some pretty solid ones, but I think it might be up there. I'd have to go back and rewatch to confirm. But it's definitely a mid-season finale that had all the emotions that is needed for a season finale. So if they're writing like this for just a mid-season finale, you got to realize that there is a lot of forethought. The days of coming up with ideas on the fly, as Carver said, and I like Carver, but I think his biggest mistake was we don't really know what's going to happen.
Lack of direction.
We don't really know what's going to happen next season. We have some ideas. This is sheer thought. Dab knows what he's doing. He's been working on getting to this point. And again, we already know, like with Kripke, you may not have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, but you have a general idea of where the story is going and where you want to take it. And if you know that, then you have the potential and all the ingredients to tell a good story. And that's what we're getting this season, specifically with the mid-season finale and everything coming to a head. You feel the focus. You expanded the mythos. You had a mid-season finale with all the moving parts and emotions of a season finale, and you had the backdoor pilot setup. And they made it relevant to the current story, so we're not distracted on a Bloodlines type story. They made it feel like it's a real episode of Supernatural coming up. It just organically flows together. Everything worked together. It didn't feel like they're trying to say, hey guys, wait a second. Here's Kaya, put your hands together. Like there was, she was just a guest star of a show of Supernatural.
A cog in the machine.
Yeah. It worked. I liked it. And the visual effects were great. Yeah. I love it. I love everything that they're doing with Jack when it comes to the visual effects.
Yeah. No. I think the biggest selling point for me on this episode wasn't just visual effects or the possibilities of the multiverse and where...
Don't turn that off.
Yeah, don't turn it off. Where the multiverse could take us. Don't just blast it over me, though, either. Was the fact that the characters... was the characters... Kaya is interesting. Kaya has her own problems. Patience makes a choice to leave the comfort of home to save somebody. Jack has worked hard on his powers to do the right thing. The hit in the feels of you guys are my family. The instability of Dean at this moment. And how these actions work together to tell this story, where they're going forward for season 13. And I agree, Mike. I think the ideas of, well, we don't really know, we're making it up as we go for next season, is gone. They have a lot of this thought out. That's why there isn't as much, Monster of the Week, or for lack of a better term, fluff in these seasons. There is more of a cohesive idea as to where they're going. Not everyone likes some of this stuff, but from the writing standpoint, from the story you are trying to tell, it's on point. It's a very good setup, and it's a great cliffhanger moving forward. It's not my favorite cliffhanger moving forward.
Yeah.
I have a couple others that I enjoy a lot more for personal reasons, but it is solid. And it's a great example of how Supernatural has still been able to stay relevant 13 years on, and why the characters not only are why we continue to come back to the show, but the characters are what will help this spin-off have longevity, have a life of its own. Have to have those solid characters, and that's the backbone of any writing. Beyond writing is the backbone of a story, of a show, but the characters are the backbone of that. Another level deeper. And, dinosaur roar at the end of the episode, the child in me was like, oh, fuck, yeah, this is awesome.
You got psyched.
I got psyched.
You were like, do you think he saw us?
Yeah. And I know there were people that were complaining about it. I see the reasoning behind a little bit of the complaint, saying out of all the supernatural abilities and potentials, you give us a dinosaur. And I feel that was purposely for the mainstream audiences that are like, what the fuck? It was meant as a what the fuck.
Yeah.
It was
the whole point.
It was a way to end with a zinger. But that's not going to be the big ordeal in that dark place.
You have no idea what's in this world.
Yeah.
Don't judge
Sam and Dean aren't going to be fighting dinosaurs.
Shoot it in the eye.
This is not Dino Riders, guys. They're not going to be riding fucking T-Rexes.
He's not going to be like, clever girl.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, though, if he makes that joke.
He is. He's going to do it.
He's
amazing.
He's gonna.
I'll lose my mind. if he does that.
Oh, Mr. Arnold.
Clever girl.
Someone's got to hold an arm out of nowhere.
Oh, my God, dude.
You got to do it.
It would be so good.
Do it now.
Do it now. Dude, the Jurassic Park fucking jokes that they could make.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Legendary.
Well, because they've already made Jurassic Park jokes in the past. So
they're gonna.
They have
Life, finds a way.
Yeah. So for me, this episode's an A. It's an A across the board for us here.
I just want to point out in the chat room that people think that should be our final thoughts music from now on. I just want to point that out.
It does make it sound better.
It does sound pretty epic, actually.
Yeah.
I think you can say anything behind that song. Here, try it.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Hi, I love killing animals.
Oh.
I love strangling.
Let the music do its work. Come on, Thomas.
Oh, I'm doing this too.
Yeah.
Ryan, suffering from prostate cancer.
Oh, wow. Jesus
from
Christ.
the vigorous Bum fucking.
What?
Wow.
Never. No more ad-libbing from Thomas.
Yeah. Can we not let him ad-lib?
We thought black or natural was
the things you say, that gets a pass.
Yeah.
I say Ryan's dying,
okay,
and everyone's all of a sudden upset.
You said I had cancer.
Wait, hold on. Say it again.
Ryan suffering from prostate cancer.
Yeah, now it works.
It works because he laughed. He was serious the first time.
I think he was trying to put some bad juju on you.
That's fucked up, man. I'm going to have to go get fucking prostate checked later. To make sure.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go have a finger put in my butthole and feel on my prostate.
Yeah,
and if they press hard enough, I may just jizz.
Oh, okay. Maybe the music doesn't make everything sound.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so that we have an A episode to close it out here.
Is that what you gave it to?
Yeah, I gave it an A as well.
Right.
Triple A's.
I like that.
The last episode before we have to wait an entire month now for another episode of Supernatural. It's a good way to stop it, though. This is a good example of how to do a mid-season finale. A wrapping up of all the current storylines and giving us a cliffhanger at the same time. We've got certain characters in a stasis or in a place that doesn't matter, and then we have other characters now on a cliffhanger. That's a great way to do it.
Yep.
So, hold on. Just say, Mike, are we doing the live read or are we coming back? We got a
wait a second. We got the winner. Winner.
Oh yeah, winner,
chicken dinner.
All right, let me go to. We should probably go to a quick break. I'll play.
We'll
some
take
music.
a real short break. Then we're going to draw the winner, and we'll close out the show here, guys. So give us just a minute. We'll be right back.
Coming in November is the Crossroads Wayward Sisters edition. Find out the latest breaking news and speculation surrounding the newly announced spinoff series. Available exclusively to our Patreon subscribers. Pledge $5 or more a month and gain access to this, plus hours of additional content. Head over to patreon.com/RainmanDigital to pledge.
She right.
Holodeck 3 program is reinstated.
Open sesame!
Variations in Trek. Appetites have changed drastically, David. What worked on TV then will not work now, despite what people think they want. So the writers of Discovery are left juggling. How do we make this series be something similar, but also fit the times that we are in? How do we pair this Trek, David? How do we pair this Trek with the palette of modern audiences? And I give you this week's episode. Am I right?
Yeah.
Can I get a round of applause? Come on, David, applause.
Applause, applause.
Pass the Romulan ale and the hot Vulcan women. Panfar for everybody. Or Ponfar.
Ponfar for everyone.
Ponfar for everybody. Bring out Lorsa and Bator. They were hot. Those are the Klingon women as well. We're bringing all of them. We don't care. And Tilly too, please bring her out.
Yes.
I need to catch my breath. I was too excited.
Star Trek from the Holodeck, the Discovery Edition. Breaking down, analyzing, and discussing every episode of the new hit Trek series. Search for it on iTunes and Stitcher. Simply search From the Holodeck. You can also find it on the Rain Man Digital app. Just search Rain Man Digital from the iTunes App Store or Google Play.
Welcome back, everyone. Supernatural The Crossroads. Now we're going to do the drawing for the grand prize winner, thanks to USAopoly, who, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, will get all of the prizes, all of the games from USAopoly. This includes Supernatural Monopoly, the Trivial Pursuit Supernatural Edition, and the Save Your Souls card game.
Right, and the people who are included in the drawing are the 3 individuals that were on Team Blue Fire Thomas.
Naturally.
Also, the 2 additional people who were selected during our show.
The ones who answered questions
names total.
correctly. Out of 5. So you got a 20% chance of winning. That's pretty good.
That's about the chance I had to
All right.
win the
Mike is
Trivial
holding
Pursuit
up
game.
the little slips of paper here, and I
Is he drawing
am the
straws?
one who. No, I'm drawing.
Oh.
And then, okay, that
All
one
right.
was just thrown at me. Here we go.
Just pick
Don't
one.
Don't look. And the winner, if I can pronounce your name, is Kathy Waters. Congratulations, Kathy. You win Supernatural Save Your Souls card game, Supernatural Trivial Pursuit, and Supernatural Monopoly. All in time for the holidays. So that is a gift under the tree.
You can play Monopoly,
from us,
and
depending on shipping and handling.
And your family can basically just have a huge fight for playing Monopoly.
Yeah, well, yeah, Monopoly is a life ruiner.
Oh, dude.
You start playing like, this is going to be fun, and by the end of it, it's like, I don't have a family anymore. But congratulations, Kathy Waters. Thank everybody. Thank you for being a part of the show. We will see. Thank you for listening for the rest of this year. And we have a month off now until Supernatural returns with Wayward Sisters, the mid-season premiere in January.
Except for Patreon shows.
Except for Patreon shows. You guys will still get that stuff, but our live traditional broadcast, this is the last one. So what a way to close it out. Great finale, mid-season finale. Any other thoughts, guys, before you say goodbye? The silence is deafening. All right. So with that, we will see you all, guys, in a month. Take care.
You little maggot. You are no longer a part of this story. Hey, ass butt.